where President Trump is expected to meet with the King and Crown Prince of Jordan. Right now, you can see him welcoming both of those leaders there into the White House. The meeting comes as the ceasefire deal between Israel and Hamas really seems to be falling apart. Hamas now saying it will not be releasing any more hostages for the time being, blaming Israel for not holding up its end of the deal and partly pointing to President Trump's plans for the future of Gaza.
This was not a decision made lightly. Everybody I've spoken to loves the idea of the United States owning that piece of land, developing and creating thousands of jobs with something that will be magnificent in a really magnificent area that nobody would know. Nobody can look because all they see is death and destruction and rubble. We have an opportunity to do something that could be phenomenal. And I don't want to be cute. I don't want to be a wise guy, but the Riviera of the Middle East, this could be something that could be so bad. This could be so magnificent.
All right, so yeah, we did just see the president welcoming those leaders, and we are expecting to get a glimpse into that bilateral meeting. Whenever that happens, we will make sure to bring that to you. But first, let's head out to News Nation's Robert Sherman. He is live for us there outside of the White House. Robert, the president is really pushing Arab nations to back his redevelopment plan.
And one of those nations that is top of mind for the president is Jordan, with you seeing the king arriving here just a short while ago. Of course, foreign policy and the vision for the Middle East is going to be on the table here when these discussions are taking place. Here we go again, Nichole, another major world leader making the trip to Washington, D.C. to visit the president here at the White House. Just keep in mind, 1 week ago, you saw the Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, here as the president has tried to lay out his vision for Gaza and the day after the war. And a big element of that he has spoken to has been the removal of Gazans from the enclave as that rebuilding process takes place there. Now, there has been some ambiguity on this subject that we've heard from the president. At times, he said that Gazans would be able to return. Most recently, in an interview this weekend, he said that they would not, and he re-upped that stance, saying that they wouldn't want to until the situation is bettered inside of the enclave. This is what he told reporters inside the Oval Office. Take a listen.
I think he'll take. I mean, I do think he'll take it. I think other countries will take also. They have good hearts. They're all going to leave when they have a place that's a better alternative. When they have a nice place that's safe, they're all going to leave. It's a hellhole right now.
So you hear the president there re-insisting that he believes Egypt and Jordan will take in some of these Gazans as that rebuilding process inside the enclave takes place. That is in contrast to what the heads of state of both of those countries have said publicly. They have emphasized again and again they are not on board with the removal of Gazans during the rebuilding process or taking any in on their own accord. Nichole.
All right. Well, Robert, speaking of that, this visit obviously coming really, at a pivotal moment in the Middle East. Where do things stand right now when it comes to the ceasefire deal as well as the hostage release?
Well, it's not an overstatement to call this a watershed moment when it comes to the ceasefire deal that is currently in place in Gaza, with Hamas accusing the Israelis of breaking the agreement, saying they won't be releasing any more hostages. Israel has in turn said that Hamas is breaking the agreement, and they've told the Southern Command of the IDF to be ready to go come Saturday. The president giving this stern warning to Hamas inside of the Oval Office. Listen for yourself.
As far as I'm concerned, if all of the hostages aren't returned by Saturday at 12 o'clock, I think it's an appropriate time. I would say cancel it and all bets are off and let hell break out.
Today in Israel, there is a cabinet meeting being held by the prime minister to discuss the next couple of courses of action. You also have threats around the region here brewing, Nichole, with the Houthis saying today that if the ceasefire deal crumbles, they're prepared to resume their attacks on commercial ships transiting the Red Sea and the Gulf of Aden. So a lot of moving pieces on this very subject matter.
Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find News Nation on your screen. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.